All right. Um, when you look at our top two running backs, there's no reasonable doubt. That is, well, that's so clear that I think it's pretty much insane to think otherwise, which doesn't mean people won't. Anyway, but with Oliver and Johnson gone, what happens after Donaldson and White? Going to talk about things with the West Virginia University running backs, and this is WVU Football Going Deep. I'm Forrest Poston. Going to sleep. I don't know. We'll get through. Meanwhile, share, subscribe, click the thumbs up, click the notification bell, make comments, and go out and tell all your friends and other people you bump into. Now, running backs. C.J. Donaldson should be healthy. He was not last year, and people tend to overlook that. At the beginning of the season, we talked about how he was facing a stacked box, but didn't talk about the fact that his shoulder was actually still injured from the previous year. He had surgery on a lower leg problem, I believe, but the hope was the shoulder would heal on its own. Didn't really do so, and that just got worse as the season went on. So what he achieved last year is pretty significant in that regard. Also, what he achieved with Jaheim White, because it was around halfway through the season that the light really went on for White, and it was largely because Donaldson decided to play coach, big brother, whatever you want to say, and kind of explain to White the head side of the game. And I mean, White was good enough in high school. He did not have to worry about thinking about the game. And of course, during the game, you don't want to think. You want to go with instinct. During practice, you think about it. You learn, you work it out so that the instinct is right during the game. Instinct is not automatically a good thing. It can lead you astray. So the week of preparation is when you train instinct, refine talent. A lot of people never learn that. Instinct and talent are not enough when the guys on the other side of the line have just as much of it, maybe more, than you do. So it's beat them with preparation. And when Donaldson explained it to White, it made more sense to him than coming from the coaches. And from that moment on, White practiced better. He stopped making some of the mistakes that were really mostly just not that full focus. And we saw the results on game day. Come on. Now, if White has maintained that attitude, then he's not just going to pick up where he left off. He's going to start this season better than he finished last season. And with Donaldson still around, I think he'll make sure that White doesn't slip backwards. So both the 1A and 1B backs should be better than they were last year. Now, Donaldson has had injury issues. That leg, of course, he got hurt first season, missed the last part, was injured for a couple of ways in his second year. Now we'll hopefully see a season of a healthy, experienced Donaldson. Because, this is really his third year of being a running back. So last year, experience was still an issue. But if Donaldson or White needs a break, right now we would expect Anderson to come in and take some carries. As a third back, he might get 10 a game if he's lucky. Now, Anderson actually came out of high school with a higher rating than any other running back on the team, including our incoming freshman. He has not panned out. Came in freshman year out of shape and overweight and has not caught up. And I think some of it is not fully realizing, what preparation is necessary physically and mentally. Supposedly during the off season, they got through to him better. He did look a little better in the spring game. If that, really plays out, he could get a lot more carries. We could have a 1A, 1B, and 1C running back. He hasn't convinced me yet. That's all there is to it. He's going to have to do it on the field. And, people say that a lot, but the fact that he's had, several years to prove it and didn't, now I question it. If Anderson does not come through, who takes those extra carries? Who fills a spot if one of the guys gets hurt? Now, Clay Ash, actually, he came in early. He is not a scholarship back, but he looked good, and he's got that extra preparation. So he could be the next back. He might pass Anderson, even if nobody gets hurt. Like I said, I want Anderson to do well. I don't want anybody on the team to have problems. But, I got to see it from him now. We do have, we got Judah Price, who's got the great speed, size, or specifically, let's say, weight, and perhaps strength remain the questions. Did pretty well in the spring game, dropped a pass, so he'll probably be in on special teams, not likely to get snaps at running back. Coming in, we have Dior Hubbard and Trayvon Dunbar. Now, I was pleased with both of them when, we got their commitments and, take a look at their junior highlights on Huddle. Yesterday I went back and they both posted senior highlights. Now, a lot of guys don't post senior highlights because they're already committed. And, I'm glad when the guys do, and I'm really glad these guys did. Both of them were noticeably better their senior year. Dunbar looked like a magician. He would find this little slot and run with 5 guys, gauntlet, going 10 yards down the line or down the field. And you'd swear that 1, 2, or 3 of them had to be in a spot to bring him down, and he wouldn't get touched. I'd love to see some other angles so I could really understand what's going on, but I swear he just, went by them. Now, last year he was coming off of an injury, and that's a big thing that slowed his recruiting. So maybe senior year, more completely back from that injury and maybe a little faster. But his junior year, he, have these long runs, good yards after contact. But senior year, what was a 20 or 30 yard run his junior year was now a 50, 60 yard touchdown. And instead of yards after contact, he wasn't getting that much contact. Now, I mean, when they hit him, he did not like to go down. But either one of these guys, now, I mean, start of the season, they're not going to be ready. That's just the way of things. They're not going to know the system. They're not going to be good enough at pass protection. They're not going to be good enough at other blocking. Although now both of them actually showed blocking highlights in their, particularly their junior years, and they like to block. It looks like, they don't have a problem with it. They like putting guys on the ground when they can, but being willing to do it and learning the schemes and the reads are a bit different. But if something should happen the second half of the season, I do think we could bring either one of these guys in and do very, very well. As well as White did last year, I don't know. It would be different. They're not the same. They're a little bit bigger, maybe not as fast, but they're fast. They're plenty fast. So when we consider the running back room, Donaldson, White, no doubt at all. None. Now, let's say the only question is just how well they're going to do. Not will they do well. Anderson, I think there's reasonable doubt about Anderson. But if something goes wrong, I think we can reasonably expect the running back room to still be a strength. I was a little worried before I went back and looked at the highlights, because if Anderson doesn't come through the way we hope, we'd then be looking at Ash or these freshmen who are just coming in. And boy, that leaves room to wonder. But watching those senior highlights, I don't know if they will get on the field this year or not, but if they do, I am not worried. I hope they both get some carries this year, not because of injuries or problems, but just because we're far enough ahead to get them in and get 4 games, not burn their red shirts, but just give them a taste of Big 12 football. But the running back room, now of course, had really high hopes for it last year. They were good. Second half of the season, very good. But of course, Donaldson's injury hurt. Johnson somehow never got quite on track. And Anderson did well at times, and then just, a mental thing it seemed to be. Not being as focused as he needed to be. So we'll see. I have high hopes for the running back room. How deep we'll need to go into it, you never know. But I don't think we need to doubt there will be positive results. Well, the 2 rooms I have not covered. Wide receiver, I actually did a video about the receivers not that long ago, somewhat different perspective, so I'll probably still do one about them. And quarterbacks, obviously. And you may have guessed, yeah, I'm saving that one for last. You know, it's the biggie. The quarterback is the star. There's no I in team, but there's a quarterback. Don't know if I'll do anything about special teams specifically or not, especially because they didn't work on that during spring camp. So judging it is difficult, other than saying we definitely have a lot more bodies and abilities for potential returners, gunners, and those mid-sized linebacker types who can get there quickly and have the size to wreak some havoc. But we've got more coming up one way or another. And we are getting closer and closer to fall camp. And fall camp means we are close to the start of the season. So I'll be seeing you guys. Oh, and I will be doing an update on recruiting. Not because a lot of things are happening, obviously, or they are happening. They're just not happening to WVU. All right. Thanks for watching. I will see you later. And for now, so long.